Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Homewrecker podcast. I am the Golden Greek, Alex Arion, joined as always by my beautiful, lovely, gorgeous, amazing wife, the lovely Monique. Monique, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Doing fantastic as always.
Yes.
Feeling ornery.
Oh my gosh, so
Feeling
ornery. I think it's being up here. We just don't give a fuck anymore.
wow. All right, there you
Yeah.
go. I think for me, it's just like a sleep. Lack of
Oh,
sleep is really doing me, and
I can do it too.
yeah. Anyway, so what's new with you? What's going on this week? Anything fun, exciting, special?
Well, I heard from my friend Andrea Land. So, Andrea is host of the Grooving Goddess podcast, and I talked about it some months back. She had an Awakening Mintaka symposium that I was a part of,
That's
and
right.
I did a quick group past life regression hypnosis with everyone who attended, and basically trying to get people to find a past life and perhaps before they incarnated on earth. And people definitely had some great experiences. So that whole thing is now available on her YouTube, and it just came out as we record today. So once I get access to it, I can put it up on my YouTube. So the whole thing is there for the regression. So if people want to watch that, they can close their eyes, they can listen, and they can experience that past life regression for free.
Oh, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you actually did the whole
The
regression
whole, yeah.
for the symposium. That's cool.
Yep.
That's pretty neat. Very cool. So I know that we had something else. We talked. Did we ever mention on the show the jarring thing?
Yeah, we brought up the jarring. Before we get to that, I just want to bring up how proud of us I am because as our cat jumps on us, because I we made a garden. My dad kind of with an excavator cleared out some land, and we made a garden, and I wanted it to be fenced in because we have a lot of deer, we have a lot of animals that if you don't have some kind of boundary up around it, critters will just get in and try to pull at it. So we put up fencing all by ourselves, and we needed to make a gate door
All by ourselves.
all by
I
ourselves.
feel like a 10-year-old. I did it all by
Did it all by
myself.
myself. So we had to make like a gate door for it to get in and out of it. And we've never done this before. And I was just so excited because on the first try, we did it and it was totally level. And it works. The door opens and closes.
And it actually looks half decent.
Yeah.
It's not like terrible.
It's not horrible.
It's not horrible.
It doesn't look like a second grader did it. So.
Well, it helps when you have the correct tools for the job.
Yes.
It definitely helps. Now we built the perimeter around the garden with what's called T-posts, right? T-posts or T-bars?
T-posts, because it's a temporary garden. It's only going to be up for maybe a year. Possibly 2. It kind of depends on what we're doing with the land. And the goal is to get a greenhouse, but this was like, for right now, I need to put some, I have lit garden boxes, but I needed more space. So I got
now that we can, we wanted to get a garden going. Yep. So these T-posts, T-bars, whatever they're called, they're these metal posts that they say you don't have to dig to get them into the ground.
Give them a little tap.
And, a little tap my ass. No, not true. Because I
as you said, tap my ass. I was being funny. I guess I failed on that.
All right.
Anyway, moving forward.
This isn't a family show. It's not family. Okay. No. Yeah. All right. Tap, whatever. Fine. So anyway, you said, because you had found out about these things, doing some research on the web and whatever. I mean, that's what everybody does now. They go on the internet and try to learn. And so you said you just have to hammer it in. And I'm like, okay.
That's what the article said.
I got to tell you, no, that's not true. They don't just hammer in at all. It was not easy.
Maybe if it's somewhere with nice soft ground, but here in the granite state, no.
Yeah, not so much. So I ended up getting a fence pole, like a fence post hole digger. And that made the process so much easier. So yeah, when you have the right tools, so much easier. And then actually earlier today, your dad's watching a video on YouTube about doing something with the garden, and this guy had this. It's actually called like a T-bar or a T-pole, whatever it's called, a driver. and it's an actual tool that they make specifically to drive those sons of bitches into the ground. And I'm looking at them going, fuck, like if I had that, I wouldn't even need to dig a post hole. I wouldn't even need the post hole digger. But anyway,
we learn as we go.
Exactly. Like we said last time, we learn as we go up here.
So last time, I have a garden. I grow things. Last year, my garden, I got so many cucumbers. And my zucchini, the netting came off and all the animals kept taking the zucchini, but cucumbers abound. So I decided to make some pickles and I canned them. And Alex, you brought it up maybe a few weeks ago. When am I going to eat those pickles?
Yeah, when are you going to eat the damn
pickles? I thought
pickles?
It'd be funny because I made 2 different kinds, one with vinegar and one with apple cider vinegar. And I used different seasonings. And because I wanted to try it, it was different.
Yeah, that's cool.
So I thought it would be fun for me to try my pickles in front of everyone and then kind of see how they go.
Yeah, great. These do not look appealing.
It's the herbs. It's
in the least bit.
I'm
not a pickle fan at all. Don't like pickles. I don't like the smell of them.
This is the apple cider vinegar. This is the regular.
Okay.
So I'll try a regular.
So for the hearers, there's 2 different jars and she's opening it now, and this hasn't been opened in over a year, correct?
Yeah, because I canned it. I gotta get that off.
It's gonna spill all over the area here, I'm sure.
Oh, smells pickly.
It smells pickly. I don't smell it yet. No, you don't have to bring it close to me. It's okay.
It smells like pickles.
I'm good. Like I said, I don't really like the smell. You don't have to jam that in my face. Thank you so much. And she's taking out a pickle. All right. This is really riveting stuff right here. This is riveting.
I have to get the seal back on. I don't want it to spill. All right, I'm going to try my pickle that I canned a year ago.
Here we go.
It's actually not bad.
Okay, then. There you go.
Still vinegary. I can definitely taste the vinegar.
Doesn't it have to sit for a certain amount of time? Has it been sitting long enough?
I think so. It's just, I probably could have put more seasoning in.
Okay.
I was afraid to put too much.
Oh, man. Yeah, it smells like a pickle.
Yeah, because you don't like pickles.
No, not at all.
It's not bad. I don't hate it.
Stated several times.
Okay, now on to the apple cider one. I'm nervous about this one, but
yikes.
Just because I know apple cider vinegar is like strong.
That stuff that'll put some hair on your nuts.
It doesn't smell that bad either. I'm shocked.
Wow.
I guess after the way like you talked about it, you put it in my head that these were going to be
what?
The pickles.
Oh, wow.
You put it in my head that these are going to be horrible.
Well, coming from somebody that hates pickles.
Oh, yeah, you hate pickles.
They're definitely going to be horrible.
Okay. I'm doing my best not to make a mess.
We're still coming to you from the tent.
Yeah, the tent.
So we have very limited space and quarters here.
Okay, now I'm going to try the apple cider vinegar pickle. It has like a weird taste to it.
Man, I was hoping for like what?
Oh, I don't.
Okay.
I don't like it.
All right.
I'm so glad I made just one small jar.
Oh God, that's disgusting. That
I
really
don't.
stinks.
I don't like that one. It like burns.
Woo! Yeah, not a fan.
Oh, that burns.
This is riveting for the people listening too.
Oh my gosh.
Sure they're loving this.
Okay.
Oh my God. Oh, jeez. Yeah, that's just, bro. Okay, that's rough. Yeah, you could take your headphones off and walk away with that if you need to. I'll try to kill some time if need be. Oh, that's just terrible. That stinks so bad.
The apple cider vinegar at first, it's like, okay, this isn't bad. And then it hits the back of your throat.
Oh,
and it just started burning.
Yeah, that's what apple cider vinegar does.
So note to self, don't make pickles with apple cider vinegar.
What possessed you to do something like that?
I saw like people said, oh, try it with apple cider vinegar. It'll be good.
Oh.
The regular pickles are fine.
Newsflash,
the
people
apple
are
cider,
dumb.
This
All
is
right.
true.
Rock and roll.
So I tried my pickles.
Okay, so that was not fun at all.
Because you hate pickles.
Just gross. Okay, so moving on from that, a lot of fun stuff up here in the mountains, up in the country, if you will.
We shared last week the owl.
Yeah.
Barred owl sounds that we were hearing.
Yeah.
We've had so many deer. But another thing that's different about being up here versus being in the city is you can actually see the stars.
Yeah, they tend to not be as it tends to not be as cloudy, I guess. Up here, well, not cloudy, but yeah, when you go outside, you look up, you can actually see stars. Whereas like in the city,
you could
not
maybe
so
see
much.
a couple.
Yeah, here and there, but it was very sporadic.
Stars everywhere.
Yes.
And it just brings me back to my childhood. When I was a kid, you could see all the stars at night. And that's what it felt like. But I thought, wow, I feel like there are way more stars than I remember. Our cat is just going crazy. I think she got into the cat.
Moving on.
So I feel like there's way more stars than I can remember. And I look up and I'm like, oh, it's the Big Dipper. And it's just, I don't know, it's really cool. But we saw something really bizarre up in the stars last weekend.
Yeah. And okay, you go ahead and you can lay this out and I'll chime in as needed, because you actually saw more of this and looked at it for longer than I did, whatever it was.
So our middle child wanted to watch a movie and he's sharing a room with his younger brother. So we said, you know what, come in our tent and we'll watch the movie together. So that way you can watch it before bed. So we watched the movie. It's maybe what, 9:30, 10 o'clock?
Yeah, it's 9:30-ish.
A little after 9:30.
It's dark out now.
We're getting out of the tent. Alex is going to zip up the tent and our middle child says, look at all the stars. Wow, they're moving. And I look up and I see 3 stars, or what look like stars, perfectly like spaced apart. And they're just moving across the sky at a steady pace. And I'm like, Alex, look up. And he's fiddling with the tent.
I'm trying to find the zipper to zip the tent shut so we don't have mosquitoes and all kinds of other nasty bugs and everything flying in.
Like, Alex. And he's trying to mess with the tent. Hold on. And then there's like a gap. There's those 3 stars. It like 1, 2, 3, all like lined up perfectly. Then a gap of space. And then more start coming, all perfectly spaced apart. And I'm like, Alex, look up. And he's still fiddling. I'm like, fuck the tent and just fucking look up. Because by this point, I'm like, the fuck. And he looked, so go on.
Yeah. So at that point, I say, okay, what? And I look up. And I don't know what I can't describe what it was, because it wasn't stars, though the lights
look like stars.
I mean, they were, the light.
It blended in with stars.
It blended in with the stars, I guess. Yes, thank you. That's the best way of putting it. And they were moving at a pretty steady pace, but not super fast.
No, it was kind of just
kind of like crawling almost, like, but they're across the sky, and they're just evenly spaced apart. So I'm looking. And I'm going, what are those drones? Like, what is that? Because you can't see anything but the lights. You can't make out any shape or anything like that. And so it didn't know what was going on. And it just kept going and going. And of course, the one night I don't take my cell phone out of the tent with me, because usually I would take my cell phone with me to like use the flashlight to see walking from the tent to the house, to, because we go and we'll use the restroom before falling asleep. And I say, okay, I don't have my phone. You're like, get a video. And I don't have my phone. So I have to fumble and unzip the tent, stumble back in here. And of course my phone's all the way across the other end of the tent. So I got to run over, get around a chair and everything, fumble around. I trip and fall. I have to get my phone, unplug it, run back outside. And the thing is still going. Whatever it is still going.
The typical like alien invasion movie where the person is just standing there watching, like, what the fuck is that? Was totally me, because I'm just looking, what the fuck is that? But what was weird is while you're looking in the tent, because there was that gap after the first 3, and then they just kept coming. And I counted 7, but there were just so many I lost count. And I noticed there was like a point. It almost looked like a slightly more yellow-ish color instead of a white star. There was a point like way off because it was kind of south, southwest, going north, northeast, just opposite direction in the sky. And there's a point where they just were coming from. And I thought that was really weird. It's just there's a point and they're coming. It's like that origin point and
it's just a straight line
moving.
after. Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm watching it, and then the last one goes and that point's gone. And you come out and you're trying to take video. And what happened?
So I'm up there and I'm out there with you, fine, and I'm looking and I'm watching it, and I'm got my phone out to take video, and you can see the stars in the background, but you can't see these lights. And it's dark, so you can't really see anything on the video. And I'm sitting there saying, okay, I can't see anything. And you're like, let me see. So I give you the phone. I'm like, here, you try.
Well, at first I go, it's like, right there.
Yeah. And I'm like, I know it's right there. I've got my phone. I'm looking, but you can't see it in the phone.
So I figured, let me try, because with the iPhone, sometimes when you tap on it, it'll change the lighting. So when it's dark, you can see something. I tried. I could not get it no matter what I did. It was like, and I just started thinking, like, what the fuck is this? Now, what was weird is a couple days before, there were Black Hawk helicopters going over the mountain. And from what we read, it said that they were having some kind of like military drill, like National Guard or something. And then
I love how you say it all like that. Yeah, like that's really what happened.
It could
be what it was.
It could be, but I don't know. But it's just weird. And then that day we heard helicopters. And I'm thinking this is government testing on some new like thing, some craft or something. Because at first we're thinking, are they drones?
Well, I thought because of just the synchronized way and the fact that they were all so evenly, they appeared to be evenly spaced apart. Obviously, I couldn't measure it, but it looked pretty evenly spaced apart
from the naked eye.
Yeah, and they were moving very synchronistically. They weren't out of formation or anything. It was a perfectly straight line. So I thought, oh, are those drones? Is it a single craft?
Well, I thought
that'd be a pretty big fucking craft if it was one thing.
I thought maybe it's satellites. And I looked up, like, there was like some kind of like long, like 20 something satellites, but I looked at what those looked like, and it did not look like this. And then we talked about, could it just be one giant craft? And those are the lights on the craft. So whatever it is it just part of it? And those are the lights on it. And that's why there was a gap. And then they were all perfectly spaced and just moving perfectly. It's just that thing is coming from somewhere moving.
Don't know what we saw, but we saw something.
We saw something.
I will say this: never once did the thought, I'm looking at an alien spacecraft, cross my mind.
Same here.
Never once.
That's because that's what the aliens want us to think.
Right. Yeah. No, that never once crossed my mind. It was, the first thought was, are those drones? That was the three when we saw the three. But then when the rest of them started coming, it was like, okay, that's a lot of drones. And that's when I started thinking, oh, is this like a craft of some kind? And then, and like, and this is all as I'm running to get the phone and everything. I'm like, of course, the one time I don't bring my phone, now something's happening and I can't, and then of course, even though I get my phone, still can't see it through the phone, which I thought was very, very peculiar.
Yeah.
So I don't know why the phone wasn't picking up the lights, but it picked up the stars in the background.
It made me wonder, is this some kind of experimental government craft that they're putting out at night? They're blending it in with the stars. Is there some kind of
like a cloaking?
Yeah, like a cloaking, something that like you can't pick it up on cameras, sensors. I don't know. But I know what I saw. I saw something in the sky, and my first thought was, this is the government.
Yeah. Yeah, same here. I mean, well, three of us saw it, but I mean, you know, we're not gonna bring our child on here to talk about it. But I mean, he actually is the one that saw it first.
Yeah,
he's the one that noticed it, and then called your attention to it, and then you had to really get my attention to see it. But
he really doesn't want bugs in the tent, and I don't blame him. I actually woke up one morning and I got bit by something on like my eyelid, and that was not fun.
Not fun.
No.
So yeah, so that was pretty interesting. No clue what it is, but I am going to say right now for anybody listening or watching, just in case, if we did see something classified that we were supposed to talk about, we're not suicidal. We never kill ourselves. We never harm ourselves or our family. We love being alive. We love life. And yeah, so that.
But the thing is with that,
just in case.
it was so big. It's not like just over us. This was all over the area. So I'm sure other people saw it. Other, like New Hampshire probably saw it.
Or did they? Because I never heard or saw anything anywhere. I looked.
That was the weird thing. I
no
looked
sightings
too.
put up
Nobody
anywhere.
said anything.
No one said a word. No, yeah, nothing.
Maybe the mind control it sent out didn't work with us, and we were like, they're not aliens, but we didn't shut up about it. I don't know.
Whatever. But yeah, so that was some excitement over the last couple of days.
Yeah, this place is very exciting. Always something.
Oh yeah, there's always something happening, and we've got this cat is driving me nuts over here. You got to stop banging into the microphone, please. Yeah. Goodness. So yeah, so that was that excitement, and then we were going to do a show about something else, and then some breaking news hit, and we thought it'd be kind of.
We want to talk about this first.
We should probably talk about this first because it's kind of. It's just I don't even know what to think. Do you want to take the lead on this, or
I'll let you, because I think you'll be able to explain it better than me.
So apparently, any longtime listeners or anything know I used to be involved in the professional wrestling business, and apparently now Vince McMahon is being investigated by his company's board of directors for allegedly paying out $3 million to a former employee to shut her up, essentially. Hush money, is that what they call it? Yes. Because of an alleged affair that he had with this employee, a consensual affair, but an affair nonetheless. And when we first heard about this yesterday, when the news broke, and apparently it was a big story in the Wall Street Journal, and of course all the pro wrestling websites and everything picked it up, and I'm sure it's gone nuts on social media, but I don't go on there, so I don't know. But yeah, apparently that's a thing. And I guess this employee or former employee, her friend emailed the WWE board of directors anonymously. This is the story that I heard, or that I'd read, and basically dropped a dime on the whole thing. And yeah, that's a pretty big thing. And I guess this happened on March the 30th. So they've been investigating it since then, in the news about it. The story just broke. So a couple of things with that. Stephanie McMahon recently left the company, took a leave of absence, right?
Yeah.
And that happened after she would have known about this.
And well, I had heard that she stepped down because there was a lawsuit.
What kind of a lawsuit?
There's a lot of different things. There was a wrestling promotion.
You're talking about the MLW lawsuit.
Yes.
There's another promotion. I think they're based out of Florida. It's actually owned and run by Court Bauer, who was a former WWE writer, and he worked directly under Stephanie. And last I knew, he's not a big fan of hers. And allegedly, Stephanie McMahon contacted, I believe it was either Vice TV or Tubi TV or both. Not 100% clear on those two details, so apologies if I get this wrong. But the way I understood it, she made a call to some executives or friends that she had over at those networks, or the network, whichever, and said, no, you don't want to do business with this wrestling company. And ixnayed the deal, kiboshed the deal. And so MLW is suing WWE for an antitrust lawsuit, saying that they're costing them these TV deals and hurting their business. So that's a thing. I don't know if that's why Stephanie took a leave of absence. That was speculation. That was
speculation, but now this comes out too, and I'm thinking.
Well, did you ever? I don't know if I even told you the other piece of that. I guess either last week or a couple of days ago, WWE there was a story published. I think it was Business Insider, Business something, Business Weekly or Business Insider. And it was essentially a story about how Stephanie was not good at her job and all this other stuff that was leaked by WWE. Like they put the story out there to be published.
What?
About Stephanie. So yeah, it was kind of weird. So, and you know, all that stuff goes through Vince. Mm-hmm. So people were speculating, I guess it was Vince angry that she took a leave of absence, that she's no longer there right now or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, so a lot of weird stuff going on with the WWE as a company and as a whole. But this whole allegation of hush money being paid out is something that, I mean, CEOs of major companies, a lot bigger than WWE, have probably gone down for far less. I mean, geez, the CEO of Papa John's in a meeting with employees, what was it? He said the N-word, like saying like never say this word, like you never want to say this word. It was, I think that was the context. And somebody like leaked out the phone call that he was, like the conference call he was having with employees, and he had to resign. So I mean, that was for that, and it was something that he wasn't saying it derogatorily. He was just saying it like as a word not to say. If I remember that story correctly, and he lost his job. So
well, you told me about this story last night.
Yeah.
And so today I wanted to look up and look at different articles and see what I could find. And I was reading an article about it. And basically what it had said was that in 2019, an employee of WWE worked as a paralegal.
Yeah.
And she was making $100,000 a year. And allegedly, after the affair began, she started making $200,000.
Now, a hell of a raise right there. She must have done good work.
And apparently, what had happened was she was having an affair with Vince McMahon, and he decided to pass her around like a cookie tray to John Laurinaitis.
Pass her like a toy to John Laurinaitis, I think was the quote from the email. I believe that was the quote.
Yeah, I didn't know the quote. I was saying like a cookie tray. Here you go, have some, to John Laurinaitis, who was married some years back to one of the Bella Twins moms.
He's still married to the mom of the Bella Twins. I think that was all chronicled on that show.
Yeah, whether it's real or not, who knows?
Yeah. And no, they're really married. That part is real.
But is it real? So I was reading the article, and they were talking about this with, this girl getting passed around essentially. And then she was given $3 million, basically not to disclose any information. Like, we're just going to keep it between us. Don't say anything.
It was like $1 million given to her up front, and then the remaining $2 million would be paid out in installments over the next 2 years.
Mm-hmm. And apparently, according to the email, she was so uncomfortable that she quit. She ended up leaving. And she never said anything to anybody, but her alleged friend did, and emailed the board of directors. Now, a couple interesting things that the article I was looking at brought up. When Nia Jax was released, shortly after she was released.
You're talking about this tweet she made?
Yeah,
this tweet was made a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, it was a couple weeks ago.
In April,
the article I was reading, they made it sound like it was before in the article I read. Okay, so she made a tweet about how some people aren't so lucky, they don't get to shine, but some people are lucky and they can blackmail others to get their spot, essentially. I'm paraphrasing. But now it's under speculation because when she tweeted it, people thought she was just being bitter. And now they're looking at it thinking, what did she know?
I'm sure that a lot, I mean, like any other job, people sleep their way to the top. It happens. It's not something that's just particular to wrestling. It happens in everything, in every walk of life. I'm sure you've had in places you've worked, maybe seen instances of that. I know I have.
It's so icky. I'm like,
in different places I've worked, I've seen varying instances of that. And exactly, that's usually the common feeling amongst other employees that witness it or know about it. But it's something that we're humans. We're all humans. That stuff happens.
I mean, it's one thing if you really care about the person, you like them or you're attracted to them, but just to sleep with them for money or for a job is, I don't know. I could not do that.
All right. Well,
I'm just saying, just thinking about it. It's in my mind.
But it happens. So I've heard stories about all kinds of things in the wrestling business, going back as far back as 1981 when Tommy Rich won the NWA World Title. I heard that it was, and these rumors have been going on forever, that he blew some guy, some promoter to get the world title. Whether or not that's true, I don't know. Nobody knows for sure except Tommy and the promoter, but the stories are out there. There was stories of an alleged affair, a homosexual affair between Shawn Michaels and Vince McMahon for many years. I'm sure those stories are still out there. Whether or not that happened is anybody's guess. I don't know. Shawn Michaels knows and Vince McMahon knows. And those are probably the only two people that really know if something like that ever happened. There was stories of Randy Macho Man Savage. The reason that Vince McMahon hated Savage and never brought him back and never forgave him until after he was dead is when he finally put him in the WWE Hall of Fame. The stories, the rumors were that the Macho Man slept with Stephanie when Stephanie was just out of college or whatever it was. I don't know if I buy that one, but that was a rumor that was out there. And I think that a lot of these rumors get started perhaps because people just have to go to the absolute worst possible thing. And that's what happens. Now, I don't know. I mean, I can definitely, just on the level of wrestling that I was at, I witnessed things that happened. So it happens. It definitely happens.
What have you witnessed?
So I'm not going to name names or anything because why? I'm not going to get anybody in trouble or anything now for, so many years later, but I witnessed things. I witnessed girls doing things to get spots or pushes or matches or whatever to get on shows. I saw stuff. It happens. I mean, it's
Alex is like, I've seen things.
We'll talk later if you really want to know. But I'm not gonna. No, that's not. And I'm not trying.
I'm not
trying to
for names. I'm just saying what type of things. So women sleeping with promoters.
I didn't watch the act take place, but I knew that it was occurring. It was obvious that that's what was occurring. So, yeah. I mean, whatever. And again, I'm not trying to blue ball the audience by doing that, but I'm not gonna harm somebody's reputation or anything like that. There's no need for it. But we're talking about Vince now.
Yeah.
So obviously if stuff happens at that level, of course it's going to happen up there at that level because there's more money involved, more opportunity and things like that. So of course that stuff's going to happen.
Well, going back to Nia Jax though, if she did know something, when you think about it, when you work in a big business, it doesn't just because you're on the talent roster, it doesn't mean that you don't know other people who work for the company.
So of course.
One could speculate that maybe she knew this person. Maybe she, she heard things. I don't know.
Sure, it's possible.
So you never know. But again, it's all just speculation because we really don't know. And nobody's coming out saying what it is.
Well, not yet anyway. And will it ever come out? Who knows? But I mean, Maria Kanellis, she has been very vocal ever since she's left the company about the different, just the culture there, the different things that went on there. I don't think she's ever actually named anything specifically, but she was always very vocal about that. She was very vocal about how Donald Trump was when she was on the set of Celebrity Apprentice and some of the comments and things that he said and made. So, I mean, these things happen. They've been happening. It's not like a new phenomenon. But what was really interesting to me is the wording that was released by Vince's attorney. Is this why you're sticking up your Oh, okay. I thought you're wanting me to hold on a second.
Nope.
Okay.
Let's get to
this.
this.
So apparently he, in his whatever brief statement he made, said that the quote unquote affair, the relationship was consensual. So in other words, two consenting adults doing the deed. And that this is important. This is important for anybody who thinks Vince might leave WWE or be forced to resign. Company money was not used. Company funds were not used for this settlement. It was Vince's personal money. So if this is investigated and it's found that company funds were used to pay off this woman, he's gone. I mean, you can't really, how are you gonna defend that? But if Jerry McDivitt, being the attorney for Vince, brokered this whole deal, this guy's not dumb.
Well, you said something, you quoted him last night, and then I kind of knocked that down.
What did I quote?
About how no money was given.
Yeah, no company funds were given.
No. It was not the money. There was no money given to stop somebody from speaking up because they were fired or something. How was it worded? Like she didn't get money to shut her up for being fired or after she left.
I forget the exact quote.
So basically,
I'm not sure.
I forget how you worded it, but he had said it comes down to kind of paraphrasing.
I
she
read
didn't get money.
Yeah, I read it off of whatever article I was reading.
Like no money was given to keep her quiet after her dismissal or departure or whatever. And you had commented like, this attorney's really good and he's not going to say something if it's not true. But I pointed out, well, she didn't get the money after she was gone. She got it while she was still working there, allegedly. So he's not lying. He is telling the truth.
Right.
She was still working when she got the money. Therefore, it wasn't after she left to keep her quiet. So he is correct in that. It doesn't make what happened not true.
Like I said, he's a very, very smart attorney. He got Vince off on the whole steroid trial and that whole allegation. I mean, that was a farce anyway, but he got Vince off and Vince never took the stand.
That's said he got Vince off.
Jeez. He got him acquitted. He got him acquitted and he never had to take the stand to defend himself. Mm-hmm. That's like pretty uncommon. That's pretty rare. So that's a pretty badass attorney right there who can just take the federal government and their case and just go, fuck you, and like completely destroy. I mean, I've listened to I've read the transcripts of that trial. Fucking McDivitt obliterated all the witnesses that the federal government had. He just fucking obliterated them. He knows his shit. Like and this is obviously why Vince has kept him on as his personal attorney for all these years.
He's good at what he does.
He's good at what he does. And so I really think if it was done, this was obviously done, it's been admitted, but I think it was done in a way that will keep Vince out of trouble, I think. But the interesting, were you going to say something?
No, I'll let you finish. The interesting
thing is that after this paralegal gets her raise or whatever, she passed off to John Laurinaitis as a toy or whatever the phrase was from that email that was sent to the board of directors. She became John Laurinaitis' personal assistant and allegedly began having an affair with him. Now, I've been hearing stories about his improprieties with talent and that kind of thing going back to the early 2000s when he first started with the company. So again, a culture that happened that was fostered there. And apparently this is not the only time that something like this has happened as far as like a settlement money being paid out or hush money being paid out, non-disclosure agreements being signed. There have been multiple, like no number, just multiple through the years between WWE or Vince, John Laurinaitis, and females, whoever, whether they be talent, former talent, or office employees, production assistants, whoever. So this is apparently like something that's been going on a lot. I found that I was not surprised, but I was surprised that it wasn't just Vince, I guess. And it seems like him and John had a little, who knows?
Have some good times.
I guess so.
Up at Titan Towers.
Yeah.
So the article also said that Vince and Linda are no longer together.
Where was this article that you read?
I have it on my computer. Yeah.
Do you remember the site or what? Okay.
because it was like the
There's a lot of
story and
crap
you
out
just
there,
keep
that's why.
scrolling down. And basically they were saying that I don't know the person they were speaking of, but some woman who was talent claimed years ago that they were no longer even living together. And I've heard those rumors, but now they're saying because of this incident that came out the other day that Linda has left allegedly. And again,
I have not heard that anywhere else,
but I couldn't find it
so I don't
anywhere
know
else
about that.
either. So are they just speculating that that's what's going on? Who knows? But there's all this stuff kind of
I will say
floating around.
Yeah, I mean, and again, that's why there's so much speculation. I mean, really, that's all we're doing right now. We're speculating. I mean,
At least we admit it.
Yeah, this is all speculation. Now, to me, in my view, Vince and Linda probably haven't been together, I guess, putting up in quotes, probably for a really long time, I would guess. Now, back in the steroid trial that I mentioned previously, this was in 94. In that trial, one of the government witnesses was a woman by the name of Emily Feinberg, who was Vince's assistant, who allegedly was getting him steroids and placing orders through a doctor. And she was the government's witness. And during the trial, it came out that Vince and Emily Feinberg were having an affair. So we know Vince has been unfaithful. I mean, at least as far back as then. So it's not like he's been faithful to his wife this whole time. Now, that was the only one that was public, that was like everybody knew about. But I mean, I heard stories all the time. Like I said, I heard an affair with Shawn Michaels, which I doubt that very, very much.
He kind of gives off the vibe like he would just sleep with a lot of women.
Who, Vince or Shawn Michaels? Vince. Oh, yeah. But I mean, whatever. Again, I don't know. I think when you're in that position, and Linda having her political career and being as prominent in those circles as she is, I don't know, and being there at their advanced age, they're both in their 70s, I believe. I know Vince is in his 70s. I think Linda's they're pretty close in age from what I remember. Are you going to get divorced at this stage in life and have to go through the messiness of a divorce? Or are they just going to keep on doing what they've been doing, which is probably not see each other really ever, unless it's some kind of a function or fundraiser or something, some kind of corporate event. And that's when they put on their smiles and, oh yeah, we're happily married, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I just feel like when there's that much money and that much prominence and prestige, I feel like they'd almost wouldn't get divorced just because they're just going to keep up appearances. That's my view.
That makes sense.
Whether or not that's the case, I don't know. And maybe they're completely, who knows? We don't know the inner workings of their personal relationship.
Maybe they have the kind of agreement.
Right. Who knows? Maybe Linda's a wild child too. Who knows? We have no idea. Again, all speculation.
Linda knows how to cut it up.
Jeez. So yeah, so I thought that was a pretty interesting news that came out, and of course that's going to be, I'm sure there'll be more coming out about that, and we could comment on it as it occurs,
as it unfolds,
Yeah. But yeah, I thought that was very, very interesting, and Vince also is currently in the middle of a lawsuit with Oliver Luck, who was the gentleman who he had hired to run the XFL.
Oh yeah,
and. Yeah, so that's another thing that Vince is going through right now. Yeah. And apparently he's writing a book right now about his life, or has a ghostwriter or whatever, however that works. And Netflix is, I guess, they're either done or they're in the middle of producing a mini series about his life. So he's got a whole bunch of shit going on.
If he's writing a book, he better just lay it all out. Like, be honest.
I gotta tell you,
that would be a read.
If the man in his 70s and has a sharp memory and can remember everything and just fucking laid it all out and was like honest and truthful about everything, oh, that'd be like the fucking best book ever.
Yes.
Because I mean, think about it. The things that this man has done.
Yeah.
Forget the infidelity and all that stuff. Forget all that. Just think of what he's done for the professional wrestling business, for the entertainment business, just the how he grew his company from something small and regional, running in only a few states in the Northeast, to worldwide.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's everywhere. WWE is everywhere. And in these times, he's one of the few businesses and companies whose stocks are still going up. They're still staying steady, and his company is profitable and making money in a time where inflation's going crazy. We're obviously in the middle of we're about to have a big recession, and who knows what else is happening, but his company's still profitable and making money. I mean, he's managed to do a lot of big things.
I just had a thought, kind of not having to do with you said, but just about his life and everything. And you just started watching the show, The Righteous Gemstones.
Yes.
And I think it's on HBO Max.
Yes.
And it's about a Christian family, like a preacher, super rich, and his kids. And as we're talking about the McMahons, I started seeing similarities almost between like the Gemstones and the McMahons. And I just thought, Vince's daddy. But yeah,
yeah.
And the kids, no, just
I get what you're saying.
Yeah, and I'm just thinking like, how else are they similar? Not that it was created after them. It's just my mind goes there.
No, it wasn't, obviously, but you can see the parallels between that business, because that's what those people do. It's a business. The preachers, church, all that that's a business.
It's kind of like wrestling.
It's so there's so many parallels. It's really, really, really fun to watch and to just go, yep, that's just like wrestling. Wow, these guys are workers, just like wrestling. Oh, no kidding. So yeah, it's pretty interesting to watch. Now we'll close here, but I have to say I did meet Vince McMahon on a couple of occasions, and my personal interactions with him were positive. Were really good. But it was very brief. Again, very brief. Just hi, hello, sir. Name's Alex Pliakis. Nice to meet you. Shook his hand. Hi, how you doing? Thank you for being here. And Stephanie as well. Stephanie was also very, very kind, very nice, appreciative of the talent that was there for the shows that we were doing. And I got to film a thing with Triple H, and it was filmed just for the house, just for the live crowd. It was not aired on television, but it was for the live crowd, so they would know what's going on when we came out, so that they would get the proper reaction. And as soon as that was done, Vince poked his head around the corner, because he, unbeknownst to me, he was watching it all on a monitor outside of the room we were filming in. And he turns around the corner, and in that typical Vince McMahon, like, where I'm sure people have seen it before, like he like pokes his head around the corner, looks over at Triple H, gives him a thumbs up, looks at me and goes, "Good shit." And then just head goes back around the corner and leaves. And I'm just like, kind of speechless, you know?
You got the good shit from Vince McMahon.
Whoa. Okay. That was surreal.
Yeah.
That was very surreal.
Wow.
So that was like my interactions with Vince. And then again, just a thank you after the show, but very, very brief. But my best friend worked for the company for 3.5 years. He said he talked to Vince twice. He said, just normal, just fine. Just like a dude.
A dude who likes to have sex with women and then pay them not to say anything, allegedly.
So a dude, a rich dude. Good for you, Vince.
Good for you, man.
Hey, more power to you. But yeah,
at your age, seriously, good for you.
Holy shit. Yeah, right. Wow. So yeah, so that's so on that note, I guess we can we'll call it a show. We'll wrap it up. Thanks for being here, listening, watching, all that good stuff. We appreciate it as always. Time is our most valuable commodity. So the fact that anybody chooses to spend it either watching or listening or both to us, yeah, we really truly value and appreciate it. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. On that note, until next time, I am the Golden Greek, Alex Aria. I'm enjoyed as always by my beautiful, lovely, gorgeous wife, the lovely Monique.
And you've been listening to the Homewrecker.
Wait. Hold on 1 second. Wait a second. Hold on.
Can't get rid of us that easily.
Yeah, we're still here. If you're listening, we're still here.
We're still here.
If you're watching, we've changed clothes and we look different.
Because it's a different day.
It's a different day. So we after we finished recording the episode,
editing
all that good stuff, and putting it together, well, some other news came out.
Mm-hmm.
And we felt we can't responsibly put this out knowing what we know now and having so much time between now and the time the episode drops. So we'll record a little addendum, if you will. We'll keep this going a little bit longer. I don't know how much longer we're going to go, but we're going to go a little bit more talking about some of the developments.
Yes.
And also making some clarifications to things that we just said that you just may have just heard that we said previously.
So one of the clarifications, what I couldn't remember exactly, was Vince McMahon's lawyer, is it McDivitt?
Jerry McDivitt.
Yeah. Said that this female who got this settlement was not paid any money upon her departure. And that is what I was referencing, because yeah, she got paid the money before her departure. So that was the loophole, because you had said like he wouldn't lie.
No, McDevitt's not going to say anything that's going to be proven otherwise. He's not an idiot.
So that is correct. She wasn't given money upon her departure. She was given it before her departure. So it's ipso facto, not a lie.
Okay.
Yeah.
And also Vince's money, personal money, was used for these hush money settlements, not company money.
But if she got a raise for sleeping with them, then that is company money.
But hold on, we don't know the ins and outs of that because that hasn't been released yet.
She could have been just
ins and outs.
Yeah. She could have been really good at her job and other things.
Look, she was hired as a paralegal for $100,000, and then at some point, whether or not that was before or after she moved on to become John Laurinaitis' assistant, she was making $200,000. So did she get the raise because she changed job positions? Perhaps. We don't know. Again, these are the details that are out there, but they're still not as complete as I would like them to be to give a complete story. So I just want to make sure that we're giving that information out, because everybody listening who is not reading or watching the news or reading up on this story,
wrestling news, that is.
Right. Well, no, this is mainstream news. This is like all over the mainstream news.
We don't watch the news, so I wouldn't know.
Right. But I'm just saying, like, it's been all over the place. So now whether or not this like turns into anything big, who knows? Because at the end of the day, it's still pro wrestling.
Yeah. Well, they got a lot of money tied up with Fox and all these corporations in Saudi Arabia.
Comcast.
There's a lot going on. So,
but at the end of the day, it's still pro wrestling.
Yes, it is.
How much is the general public really going to care?
Good point.
I'm just saying. So we don't know. But the big development, the reason we felt we had to come on and talk about this. Now, we mentioned how Stephanie McMahon left the company.
Yes.
And shortly after that, the magazine article that I was referencing, it was actually Business Insider that put out a piece, and apparently that was a piece that was pushed out by the WWE, most likely Vince and whoever else, to essentially, in the wrestling business, they call it burying somebody. They buried her. They said she was terrible at her job. She was forced out. She wasn't good, whatever. And so the news that I'm seeing, the talk is that story was put out in order to save the stock price, to not tank the stock. They put that piece out. Now, why you would, whatever. Did Stephanie agree to that ahead of time? Who knows? We have no idea. But that's the story that's going out around as far as that goes. Now, the greatest development ever is that Vince McMahon actually stepped down as the CEO of the WWE.
And chairman.
He stepped down as chairman of the board while this investigation is going on.
He's cooperating fully.
Of course he is.
But he's remaining on creative.
He's remained. Yeah.
So he's not really leaving.
He's not going anywhere. Of course, I told you this is.
I know.
So the great development though is that the now interim, in the meantime, CEO and chairman of the board, or chairperson, is
Stephanie McMahon. You go, girl.
So she leaves the company,
They bury her.
They bury her, and now she's the chairman and the CEO. I love it.
Interim.
Like interim. Like, come on.
Yeah.
So we had to come on and say and record about this and talk about it because what?
And we had some fun speculating just like on our own about like, what if? And I was saying, like, what if Stephanie was the leak and she wants daddy out and her and Paul can run it. And like, we're just having fun. Like, but,
of course,
you know, the truth is it's probably keeping it in the family because Vince isn't really gone and she'll do what she's supposed to do.
And as we're recording this Friday Night SmackDown, Vince opened the show. He actually, and WWE put out like a thing on social media, I guess, and they were talking about it, and basically publicizing, to Papa Rating essentially for their Friday Night SmackDown show. And Papa Rating means they want to get people to watch, so the ratings go up. For anybody that doesn't know, and so he comes out apparently at the beginning of the show in character as Mr. McMahon. That's his on-screen character, if people don't know. And I think he said like he referenced like the show open of WWE where it says "then, now, forever, together," and like that's all he did, and then he left. He was out there for like a minute. It was like nothing.
I didn't see it.
So okay, and that was like the big appearance of Vince McMahon. But yeah, apparently
they did not lie. He made an appearance.
Yeah, well, it's of course, and so. Pretty smart on their part because anybody that's tuning in to see Vince sees him right then and there, and they kept it short, so they're probably thinking, well, what else is he going to say? What else is he going to do? And they probably stayed tuned in for the entire show.
And they got
most
nothing.
Well, no, they got a couple of big things that happened on the show. I was reading some results. Brock Lesnar returned.
Oh, I meant in regards to Vince McMahon.
Oh, it's for Vince. Yeah, okay. But anyway, enough about that. But from what I'm seeing, Vince is still in charge of creative, so he's still doing everything that he was doing before. He's just on paper and for public perception purposes, he's no longer the chairman or the CEO of WWE.
But he is.
But his daughter is. So
he is.
Who do you think she's calling to ask for advice and
her husband
and input in the I say input, no, using that term loosely. Who do you think she's calling for the decision?
Who do you think is calling her and telling her what the decisions
are? Of course. So again, unless Vince is forced out in some weird way, I don't know anything about how that kind of stuff works. As far as like boards and companies and stuff like that.
There's shareholders. There's like a lot of people involved in this company. So
yeah, I'm actually going to pull this up because I found it rather fascinating. The way that the company is set up, and again, I'm sure Jerry McDivitt helped him out with this because it's genius. The way that the stock is set up.
He owns like 30-something%, but he
owns 38% of the stock,
but controls.
But the nature of how the stock is set up is that he has 80% of the stock voting power. So he's not going to get bought out. I mean, unless he wants to sell his shares, and he's not going to get voted out. So I don't know how else he's going to leave the company if
somebody like kills him.
If something big comes out about, if something big, like a big scandal, like, whatever comes out, how's he going to be forced out? It's his company.
I feel like whatever scandal comes, he's going to find a way to handle it.
Oh yeah. Come on.
He'll make it his own bitch,
It's Vince. And we're titling the episode here, Vince McMahon has found himself in a pickle.
Vince McMahon is in a pickle.
Or he's in a pickle. So, yeah, kind of a tie-in to what we did earlier on in the show. So there you go. There you have it. Vince McMahon.
Yeah, good for him, man.
Has promoted, or sorry, his daughter has come in and saved the day.
And he's almost 80, correct?
He's 77. Linda and Vince have been married for 57 years. So remember how we were speculating about, are they going to get divorced or whatever?
Because they've always been together in the public eye. I mean, you kind of figure, I mean, the vibe I always got from Vince was he sleeps around. And
Of course.
I think I said that earlier, but it's like, but they always portray an image of we're together. And
well,
but you kind of feel like, no, I mean, they show up at events, like it's his wife, they're together, not like we're happily in love, but they're still married together.
Right.
But you get the feeling like they're totally not together. They're like married, but they're not like crazy in love about each other.
And,
not like you and me, baby.
That's right. Yeah. Damn it. Now, actually, to expand on that a little bit, think about what do you think is going through or goes through Stephanie McMahon's mind or Shane's mind when it comes to their parents and their relationship? Or do you think it's just kind of one of those things where like that's kind of how it's always been? So
well, what's interesting is Shane's name has not come up at all with this.
No.
And he was
well, as far as like the scandal goes.
Well, in terms of like support, like Stephanie is the chairperson, but like what about Shane? Now he was fired, correct?
I'm not sure
he was fired like a while ago. After
I think it was at the Royal Rumble this year. Something he messed something up, or I don't know the full story, but he has not been back at TV since. I don't recall the story. I heard about it at the time, and I don't know, but I will say this about Shane. I've universally across the board never heard a bad thing about Shane McMahon from the people that have worked with him. And I've heard stuff about everybody else in that family except for Shane, as far as excuse me, as far as anything scandalous, if you will. He's married. He's got a couple of kids with his wife. I don't know, obviously, his personal life, but I just never heard any of the stories that you hear about the other members of the McMahon family. And I'll tell you some off the air about Stephanie.
Oh, you can't do that.
I can't do it on the air.
Why?
I can't. I can't do it.
You should have said, and here's something about somebody in the WWE who has tie-ins to the McMahon family, and then said it.
I am going to blue ball the audience.
Again, that's the second time this episode.
Tell you later.
And you didn't tell me the other thing you were supposed to tell me last time.
So I'm blue balling you too.
Apparently.
Anyway, so yeah, the Shane, I don't know what's up with Shane. We don't know.
Yeah. What else were you going to say?
Well, what I was saying was, what I was trying to say was, what do you think goes through their mind? Like, do you think that they would have, like, they called Stephanie and said, hey, Business Insider is going to put out this piece about you, basically saying you suck and that you were not good at your job, but it's just to save the stock price. Do you think that she was consulted at first on that?
I mean, what if she was the one who said, what if to save the stock price, you do this?
That thought never crossed my mind.
Because
that honestly never crossed my mind.
I'm the kind of person who would do that. Put the heat on me to, take care of things. Like, that's how I am.
Yeah.
And that's like my first thought is I would say, you know what, put the heat on me, we'll take care of it.
I never would have thought that, but yeah, you're right. That could be something that she maybe did.
Maybe.
And of course, the amount of money that she has made and if she probably doesn't care.
She probably doesn't give a shit anyway. She's like, I'm busy. I'm taking care of my own shit. Well, not anymore because she got pulled into this. Or maybe she knew. Who knows?
Right.
Who knows?
I think the best theory that you had was that it was Triple H and Stephanie scheming this whole thing to get her
to get rid of Daddy.
To get rid of Daddy, to get her.
It's probably like not close at all to the truth, but it's just not fun to like make up these like scenarios. We're writing storylines,
fun
pretty much. Yes.
I think the WWE, if they wanted to, and again, this is just me spitballing, but if they wanted to really get interest, because everybody knows for pro wrestling at its peak, it was the characters, it was the storylines. Doesn't matter how many moves are done in a match or how exciting a match is, whatever. Yeah, that's a bonus when it happens. But when you want to get like a big audience, it's the story and the characters that compel people to watch and keep them watching. You want to keep people watching, fuck what's going on in the wrestling ring. To put the cameras on backstage.
I used to
film that shit.
I used to, when I was a teenager, my friends would talk about watching soap operas and say, I got to go home and watch my stories. And so I would do the same thing. Oh yeah, I'm going to go home and watch my stories tonight. And they're like, tonight? Yeah, wrestling. I would call it my stories. Because that was like my soap opera. That was my entertainment. That was my drama. But yes, if they just had the cameras on the McMahon, like they have the Total Divas and all that shit, just put it on the fucking McMahons. Let the cameras roll. Everybody, I swear, like the people not watching will hear about it and they'll tune in and it'll make so much money. And again, just being who they are, people are either going to fucking love them or hate them. But in the end, they're going to be watching.
And they'll make a shitload of money doing it, even more so than they already do, in my view. Now, I could be completely off base. Could be
backstory.
I could be completely wrong, and people wouldn't give two shits and be like, "Why? What's going on? Why can't we watch wrestling?" But I really think that if they did, like, even made a separate show, even on their network, or whatever it's on now, Peacock, even if they put something on there, just a show of the backstage stuff, that would be
let it be
the
real.
Most entertaining thing.
Like, show all the real shit.
Well, that's the thing. You don't have to write it. Just let real life play out.
That's it. Don't script shit. And like, okay, now we're going to be like going over a storyline with so-and-so. And just fucking let it be real.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That would be fantastic. But anyhow, so unless something crazy breaks in the next day or two, I don't think we're going to break in again on this episode, but
I don't think we're going to have time to by the time we got to get it ready to put it out.
That's true too. But anyway, so that's the addendum, I guess, unless you got anything else you want to add.
No, that was it. We just wanted to bring it up and share it because everyone probably knows about it already by now.
Right on. So there you go.
Let us know what you think.
Yeah, let us know. Absolutely.
Share with us your most imaginative, speculative stories about what could be going on. We'd love to hear.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's fun to sit and
what was another one I came up with? Cody Rhodes really didn't leave AEW and he like came in to get dirt and he's the person
he's the leak.
He's the
one that sent the email to the board
to bring down WWE, and then he's going to go back to AEW. That was another fun one. I should be a writer.
Jeez, we should just do a full-on show about these conspiracy theories regarding this whole situation here, because we could probably go
that is an episode. WWE wrestling conspiracy theories.
You want to do that next week?
I guess something else something else for next week.
All right. Well, coming soon.
Okay. Well, we got to work on it because
coming soon. Wrestling conspiracy theories. There's a ton. And
if there's any things that regarding wrestling conspiracy theories that you want us to look into, let us know. We'll check into it.
For sure.
Yeah.
All right. Well, until next time, we'll do this close again. I am the Golden Greek, Alex Arion, joined as always by my beautiful, lovely, gorgeous, amazing wife, the lovely Monique.
And you've been listening to the Homewrecker podcast.
We love hearing from and interacting with our hearers and watchers. Feel free to reach out to us on Twitter
at HomewreckerPod.
You can also visit our website,
homewreckerpodcast.com,
where you can check out past episodes and pick up some Homewrecker podcast gear from our online store.
Also, if you haven't already, please hit the subscribe or follow button wherever you're hearing or watching our show. That way you can be notified whenever a new episode drops. We're on all major podcasting platforms, and you can check out the video versions of our show at YouTube and Brighteon.
You can also find Monique in a few places online as well.
I'm on Twitter @_MoniqueGiselle_. If you're interested in a tarot reading, organite, incense, candles, and other cool things, you can go to my website, tarotbymonique.com. Or if you're interested in hypnotherapy, you can go to innerstandingshypnosis.com to schedule a free 20-minute consult. And follow me on Twitter @MoniquePCHT. And Alex, how can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter @TheAlexArion. And you can check out my website, AlexArionFitness.com.
And if that's too much to remember, we get it. That's why we put it all in our show notes.
Thanks for spending your time with us, and we appreciate all of your support.
We do. Thank you. We love you.